the one and only podcast by a blind wrestling fan.
Wrestling, 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 wrestling in the dark!
Hey up guys, welcome to another WITD, where it's time to take a look at the Women's Elimination Chamber match from the Elimination Chamber 2020 pay-per-view. This of course was for number one contendership to Becky Lynch's Raw Women's Championship, and as someone that's a fan of Shayna Bazler and wants to see her rise to the championship, I just couldn't resist this match. But I guess you have to be careful what you wish for, so let's get to what happened. The match is started off by Ruby Riott and Natalya, and Ruby's talking a lot of shit to Natty and to Liv, who's still inside the pod. They quickly spill to the outside. Natty sends Ruby into one of the support beams, gives her a snap suplex, locks her in the sharpshooter. From here to when Sarah Logan is released, rather than calling any of the moves or the strikes or really anything that's going on, Tom Phillips is content to just scream, "Oh, using the steel to her advantage, into the chains, oh the unforgiving chains," just over and over again, and this is why I hate Tom Phillips. Sarah's eventually released. She levels Natty with double knees. She goes after Ruby, who tries to escape by climbing up on top of Liv Morgan's pod. Sarah manages to give her a powerbomb before launching herself off the top to take down Natty. Natty does something, and Tom Phillips just says, "Down goes Logan and Riott thanks to Natty," and this is why I hate Tom Phillips. This is when Bazler ends up getting released, and she makes light work of these three women. She quickly submits Logan and Riott with the Kirifuda clutch. She slams a pod door into Natty a bunch of times and then locks her in the Kirifuda clutch. She just stands and waits for the next person to come out, which ends up being Liv. The entire time she's waiting, her and Asuka are talking trash to each other, and Asuka actually seems really fired up, and I was getting excited for when she comes out. Bazler meets Morgan as she comes out, slams her into the cage, and does something that Phillips says is disgusting and ruthless, but never bothers to tell us what it is. This is why I hate Tom Phillips. It's not good news for Liv Morgan though, because she ends up getting locked in the Kirifuda clutch, and there dies the last dying dreams of any Riott Squad fan. Sorry, Dom. It's a couple of minutes, obviously, until Asuka gets released, and she's talking trash to Bazler the entire time. She seems really fired up and agitated, and she's banging on the walls of the pod and rattling the chains and just screaming at Bazler. And I'm like, okay, when she gets released, we're going to get a couple of minutes of a bit of a singles match between them, and we might actually get some cool stuff here, but unfortunately it just wasn't to be. Asuka manages to get a hip attack at one point. She lays in kicks, Bazler lays in kicks, Asuka gets the Asuka lock in, and Bazler rolls out of the ring to break that up. She gets the Kirifuda clutch. Asuka tries to fight out, so Bazler attacks her wrist, locks her back in the Kirifuda clutch, and Asuka passes out. I like to think that I'm not, and that's a hypocrite. I absolutely hated when they did this with Brock during the Royal Rumble, and unfortunately, even as a Shayna Bazler fan, I wasn't a massive fan of how they did this. I'm not really sure how I would have done it differently. At least try to show off the multi-skilled offense of Shayna. It's tap, snap, or nap, so could she have not utilised that arm stomp that she does and lock in an armbar to maybe get rid of Logan or Riott, and the Kirifuda clutch for one, and just different moves at least to get people out rather than just the Kirifuda clutch. I get that they're trying to put that over as a massively powerful move, so they achieved that. I just wasn't a fan of the pacing. The reason that we like the Elimination Chamber is because it's a multi-man match, because there's multiple bodies in there and there's interplaying and all that sort of stuff, and it just was a little bit disappointing to get to the point where Shayna's just standing there waiting, and then also I just wasn't a massive fan of how it made the other women look. Logan and Riott tapped out immediately when they were locked in that Kirifuda clutch. Morgan lasted maybe a little bit longer, Natty lasted maybe a little bit longer, but other than that, it felt like they just... I hate using the word buried because I feel like it's way too strong of a word, it's way too overused, but they definitely didn't do any of the women any favours here. The Riott Squad in particular just looked like a bunch of lame ducks, and that's unfortunate because I think all three of them are pretty cool in their own way, and I'd like to see them be elevated more, and this sort of match could have elevated them more. Unfortunately, they chose to go the lazy route of just having Shayna be as dominant as possible, and I can't believe that I'm actually complaining about this because, like I said, I am a fan of Bazler. I really loved her in NXT, and I can't believe that she's already getting turned into a Brock Lesnar-esque figure where she just squashes people, and it's not even like... Oh man, I can't believe I'm about to say this. It's not even like with Brock Lesnar where everyone says, oh well, he looks so dominant, then when Drew eliminates him from the Royal Rumble, Drew looks really good. I mean, I have issues with that, and we could get into that, but that's for a different time. There's going to be no comeuppance here for Shayna. She's probably going to go and win the belt off Becky, and so she's just torn through everyone, and who's supposed to challenge her once she's taken it off Becky, because she's just crushed everyone inside the Elimination Chamber. I was just really let down and disappointed by this one. I just wanted it to be better, and I think that they easily could have done it better, but they just chose to be lazy. On this match, you know where the comments section is, or you can find me on Twitter at Mason_WITD. Leave a like and a subscribe if you're that way inclined. Come back for more Wrestling in the Dark, but for now, I'm off, and you should have a good one.